Hello friends, today I am going to discuss with you innate immunity. So the word immunity is derived from the Latin word immunis, which means exempt. So originally referred to the protection from legal prosecution offered to the Roman senators during their tenure in office. This term was adopted subsequently to designate the naturally acquired protection against disease such as measles or smallpox. It indicates that an individual can develop lifelong resistance to a certain disease after having contracted it only once. That means whenever we get exposed to certain pathogenic organism and we got immunity of particular disease, that will remain lifelong after a single exposure of particular foreign invaders. If you remember the contribution of Edward Jenner in the field of microbiology, or you can say the vaccine or the development of this phenomenon, immunology. So he during his demonstration he used a material from a cowpox fish tube and he injected it into the arm of an 8-year-old boy, and surprisingly after the subsequent exposure to the smallpox, the result was surprised him that that boy, 8-year-old boy, doesn't get combat with the smallpox disease, and that was in public talking that once they get infected with the cowpox, they never have a chance of getting serious smallpox. They don't need to fear about the smallpox if during their lifetime once they have infected with the cowpox. And this the Jenner's technique of inoculating with cowpox to protect against smallpox spread quickly throughout the Europe, and from that time the many scientists work on the vaccine. Followed by that, von Behring and Kitasato. He won the Nobel Prize in Medicine in the year 1901. He also demonstrated one experiment where he used the serum from animal, and that animal who previously immunized to diphtheria toxoid. So according to him, the previously immunized animal could transfer the immune state to unimmunized animal. Since then, immunology as a field of study has come a long way. It has been and remain one of the hottest field of research, as shown by the statistic that about 17 Nobel Prizes have been awarded to the scientists who are involved in immunological research. Thus, you can define immunity as the resistance exhibited by the host towards injury caused by microorganisms and their products. These microorganisms, foreign invaders, they may be bacteria, viruses, parasites, fungi, and their microbial products like the lipopolysaccharide, many toxins secreted by them, and then whenever these foreign invader exposed to the human body, then in response to that our body start a reaction, and that is called as the immunity. First event in immune response of host is the recognition of microorganism and foreign substance. The second, that is the body's defense mechanism, then divided into two types: innate, which is also called as natural immunity, and the acquired, that is the adaptive immunity. So thus today we will discuss on the innate, that is also called as the native immunity. It is called as native immunity because it is the resistance that an individual possesses by birth. Okay, so it is due to the genetic and constitutional makeup of an individual. It's totally based on what the individual has, its constitutional makeup or the genetic makeup. That's why it is developed by birth only. Prior contact with microorganism or their product is not essential to develop innate type of innate immunity, and thus it acts as a first line of defense of the host immune system. Now let us see how the this is also called as the non-specific defense. So we will see the mechanism of non-specific defenses. They are not specific to any infectious agent, hence they are called as the non-specific defenses, and do not seem to improve response on repeated exposure. Means primary exposure of foreign invader does not mean that even during after that exposure, even if in the lifetime you will again get second chance of exposure for the same invader, then it won't work. And the involvement of the cells in this innate immunity are phagocytic cells, for example macrophages and neutrophils. Second, the barriers like anatomic or the physiological barrier, example is the skin and the mucous membrane, and several antimicrobial compounds which are synthesized by the host. They all play an important role in innate immunity. Thus, innate immunity is the resistance that an individual possesses by birth, and it is categorized into, that is the non-specific innate immunity and the specific innate immunity, and both are categorized into three subtypes, you can say: species specific, species non-specific, racial specific, racial non-specific, individual specific, and individual non-specific. The non-specific defenses of the host. Among that, the first is the species immunity. The species immunity denote that a total or the relative resistance to a pathogen shown by all members of a particular species. So whatever the species it contain, all the members of the same species show same type of immunity. For example, chickens are resistant to Bacillus anthracis. Rats are resistant to Corynebacterium diphtheria, whereas humans are susceptible to this bacteria. All humans resistance to animal and plant pathogen. You haven't seen that key tobacco mosaic viruses infected human being or the animal. Likewise, the E. coli, which causes several disease condition in the plants. So that shows that the immunity, this innate immunity, is species specific. The reason is due to the physiological and biochemical differences between tissues of different hosts. Like plant have different tissues, animal have different tissues, physiological and biochemical difference in them. Also in human being also it is observed. Then the racial immunity, it denotes a differences in susceptibility or the resistance to infection among different races within the same species. Though they are in the same species but belong to the different races, according to that, the immunity is also variable. Races with sickle cell anemia prevalent in Mediterranean coast are immune to infection caused by malarial parasite Plasmodium falciparum. Now, this is due to the genetic abnormality of RBCs, which result in the sickle cell shape erythrocytes, and thus due to that sickle shape erythrocyte, the Plasmodium falciparum could not find its place to reside over there, and that's why in such cases it prevent the parasitization or the infection by the Plasmodium falciparum. Likewise, individual with a hereditary deficiency of glucose 6 phosphatase dehydrogenase are also less susceptible to infection by Plasmodium falciparum. Now here glucose 6 phosphate dehydrogenase is very important enzyme in the energy yielding process. It is most involved in the pentose phosphate pathways. But due to its deficiency, the individual doesn't have a good or the we can say the favorable situation for parasitization of this Plasmodium falciparum, and thus where the individual lacking this enzyme, in that case the Plasmodium falciparum doesn't infect. Next one is the individual immunity, which means the resistance to infection, which varies within different individuals, but they are belong to the same race as well as the same species. This is also genetically determined. So the best example we can see in individual immunity, that is the homozygous twins. In homozygous twins, if one of the twin develop tuberculosis, there is a very high possibility that the other twin will also develop tuberculosis. But that is not same with the heterozygous twins, because there is a very low possibility of other twin suffering from tuberculosis to get affected. There are several factors that affect the non-specific defenses of the host, or you can say the factors which affect the innate immunity: age, nutritional status, and third, hormonal level. Extremes of age make an individual highly susceptible to various infections. For example, young and old are more susceptible. In case of the young children, the immature immune system, and in case of the old one, weakening of the immunity is found. And the very old people are susceptible to suffer more than the young people from a disease like pneumonia and have the high mortality. Measles, mumps, poliomyelitis, and chickenpox that causes more severe clinical illness in adult than in young children, and this is due to more active immune response in an adult that causes greater tissue damage. Likewise, if you have seen, the fetus which is in uterus is usually protected from maternal infection by the placental barriers. Um, because during pregnancy, if the mother is having certain type of disease, so that pathogen could not transfer from the placenta to the fetus. But in case of certain infection, that we term it as a congenital infection, so they are able to cross the placenta. So the HIV virus, rubella virus, herpes virus, cytomegalovirus, and the toxoplasma that can cross the placenta and transfer from mother to the fetus. And the example again, microsporoma adoni. Now these species causes the infection which is called as tinea capitis. This is one of the kind of fungal infection of the scalp which involve both the skin and hair, and it is also known as scalp ringworm. These superficial dermal diseases are generally found in the pubescent children starting at 6 months and rarely affect the adult. Spontaneous cure at puberty is found. So this is the organism, fungal infection, which is shown only in the youngsters or the young children's. Not it is common in every age group. Again, one of the factor is the nutritional status. Nutritional status of the host play an important role in innate immunity. Both humoral as well as the cell-mediated immunity are lowered in malnutrition condition. For example, the neutrophils are actively reduced in that situation. Interferon response is decreased. C3 and factor B of complement are decreased in malnutrition. Also, the deficiency of vitamin A, vitamin C, and folic acid make an individual highly susceptible to infection by many microbial pathogens. So, the nutritional status is very important, so that the vitamin, minerals, they also help to boost up the immunity, as well as the working of C3 and the factor B, which involve in complement, that is also found to be reduced in malnutrition condition. Hormonal levels. Individual with certain hormonal disorder, they are prone to susceptible to infection. For example, the individuals, those suffering from diabetes mellitus or hypothyroidism and adrenal dysfunction, are increasingly susceptible to staphylococcal infection and streptococcal infection, candidiasis, aspergillosis, zygomycosis, and other microbial infection. So, as you might have heard that the diabetes, which is also called as the silent killer. So, eventually, when and this diabetes is also found because of the malfunctioning of the pancreas, which secrete the insulin, and the dysfunctioning of the insulin, which lead to such type of disease, and thus these people are more prone to such type of infection. Pregnant women are more susceptible to many infection because also during pregnancy the level of steroid is to the higher end. Then mechanism of non-specific defenses of the host. We'll see how the innate immunity work here. So the first step is, or you can say that it work by killing the invading microbes. Again, it activate the acquired immune response. It does not have any memory, and it does not improve after re-exposure to the same microorganism. It works like the first line of defense, which can be categorized as the physical, chemical, and biological barriers, or you can also say that the anatomical barrier, physiological barrier, then phagocytosis process and inflammatory response, that all together work as a first line of defense. In a physical barriers, skin and mucous membrane include chemical barriers like stomach acidity, secreted antimicrobial peptides. Cellular barriers include macrophages and neutrophils, and thus the innate immune response activation occur within minutes of pathogen recognition. So, very first step is the recognition of pathogen. As soon as the pathogen is recognized, within a minute the innate immune system will start. These are the anatomic barriers, that is the physiological barrier, skin, and this is the diagram that show throughout the body. These barriers work as a first line of defense to eliminate or to wipe off the pathogen from the body. So the lysozyme in tears and other secretion, removal of particle by the cilia which is found in nasopharynx, then mucus lining in the trachea, skin. The surface of the skin is very important, work as a physical barrier because several fatty acids are present in the skin that reduce down the pH, as well as the normal flora of the skin that also help to eliminate the invading microorganism. Also in the stomach the pH goes up to the 2. So at this acidic pH the foreign particle could not stand there. So rapid change in the stomach also help to eliminate the microbes from the body, and again the normal flora of the intestine and the flushing action of urinary tract, that all together again help to remove the microorganism from the body. Okay. Thus the skin, which has the several sebaceous gland that help to secrete the sebum, as well as whenever the skin get breaks or certain wound or abrasions or the scratches are found in the skin, or during the bites of insect that harbor the pathogenic organism. For example, the mosquito bite, tick bite, fleas bite, and the sandfly. They are the mediator for transferring the pathogen from them to the human body and thus transmit the infection. But the skin, which secrete the sebum, which consists of lactic acid as well as the fatty acid, and that maintain the pH of the skin in between 3 to 5. This pH then inhibit the growth of microorganism. The mucous membrane, which form a large part of outer covering of this organ like gastrointestinal tract, respiratory tract, genitourinary tract, and many other tracts of the human host. A number of non-specific defense mechanisms act to prevent entry of microorganism through mucous membrane. Here the saliva, tears and mucus secretion that help in wiping off the microorganism. Likewise the mucus, which is viscous fluid secreted by the epithelial cells of mucous membrane that entrap invading microorganism. Also, in case of the respiratory tract, the mucous membrane, which is covered by the cilia, which is hair-like appendages, and that help or to entrap the microorganism from this tract. Non-pathogenic organisms tend to colonize the epithelial cells of mucosal surface, and that normal flora generally compete with the pathogen for attachment site on the epithelial surface and for necessary nutrients. So normal flora also play an important role in having the competition with the pathogen, and thus they try to inhibit the growth of pathogen. The physiological barriers, which include innate immunity, are gastric acidity. That is the barrier to infection, because very few ingested microorganism can survive the low pH of stomach content. Means the physical barriers. If the pathogen escape from that skin as well as the cilia or the lacrimal secretion, then if they escape from them and then enter into the body, again there are certain armors which are situated in the lower part of our body. So gastric juice or acidity is one of them. Even if the organism get entry into the stomach, the acidic pH will not allow the organism to grow or multiply there. Likewise, several lysozymes, which act as an antimicrobial agent, they also break down the cell wall of bacteria. So, as you know that what will happen when the bacterial cell wall get damaged. Interferon, which are antiviral agent, and they prevent the synthesis of viral structural protein. So they are most effective in terms of viral infection. Interferon alpha, IFN, that produced by the leukocytes and fibroblast, and it exhibit in 12 isoforms. Interferon beta, that is also produced by the leukocyte fibroblast along with the dendritic cells, and interferon gamma, which is produced by the activated T cells and natural killer cells. They also play a very important role here. Okay, so these are the references, and thank you.